in the church.
Yes.
I sang along and everyone stared at me. Any more questions, please, from the floor? Yes, all there.
So Mike Yates actually went out on quite a dark note when he actually turned traitor. Was that something that you were actually comfortable with?
That I was what?
When you turned traitor towards the end?
No, I did not turn traitor. I have to put this straight in every convention, actually. No, you know, he was following the very good instinct of his heart to create a better world. And incidentally, perhaps I can plug my book, which is Radical Reform of Democracy and Welfare State. It's very light reading, but anyway, forget that. But no, he was misled by Professor who was very persuasive. But you did notice, I hope,
you did redeem yourself.
I shot the dinosaur's balls off at the end.
Yeah. You did redeem yourself in the spiders, anyway.
Because your character is one of the early, assistants to get, like, well, later on you get people like Turlough who have like a story arc, and very few of the assistants got what we would now call story arc. Back then, I don't think the term was used. Story arc, as in a character would have their own narrative going on within the story, and you actually had that.
I did. Actually, if I can come in on that, on a note which I know will touch all of you, I was very lucky part of my case, because I think it was closely monitored by Barry Letts, who died recently. It's a great loss and grief to go to me. But I have to be very thankful to Barry, because he defended me as an actor, and also he oversaw that story arc.
Cool. Any more questions?
We love you very much.
Love you very much. We'll all have a pint of that. Questions from the floor?
I've got a quick question to both of you, really. The stories that you were in, have both of you got a favourite for you?
It's weird with me, because most of them, they don't exist, you see, so it's difficult. But the one that we love doing, Mike and I love doing, was the funny one, because the pubs in Cornwall are very good.
It's awful
to say that, but you know, it's the truth. We were just actors, actually, and we were having fun, and it was a nice vacation. Usually you were in a quarry, you know,
How much time did you spend in the pub?
Rather a lot. You know, lunchtime and then after work.
Yeah. I hear a lot about that when I've interviewed people saying that they did the shop in the morning and they went to the pub for a few hours and then they would go back.
Of course we don't do that anymore, do we?
I do.
For the days.
To answer your question from my perspective, all my stories are still in existence, and the early ones, which were black and white, are now coloured, absolutely brilliantly. But I really did enjoy all of them. But I think, not to evade your question, the Demons was particularly fun, because as Anneke says, we usually were in a quarry in January, and the Demons were shot in May. And the first week, or 2 weeks, wonderful filming in this beautiful little village in Wiltshire called Alborn, was in brilliant sunshine, and we all got kind of Mediterranean tans. The second week, just over that weekend, as you probably remember, we had 4 inches of snow, which brought Fernando Marlowe in as an extra character, saying freak weather conditions over here. They couldn't really shoot everything the week before. But that was particularly enjoyable of all the films, because it was longer filming, nice time of year, beautiful place, and it was filmed in a pub.
So if that was filmed in May, I recall at the day there was an April sequence. Was that,
yes, that's right.
Was that staged, or was that actually something that they would have done in that village anyway?
I don't think they may have revived it now. I don't know, because I mean Alborn has made a fortune. They still live Doctor Who in that village. Some people are telling me last night that the front doors are still painted the same colours they were in 1970. And yes, lots of people do. It's a place of pilgrimage.
And Halloween, they dressed up as gargoyles and run around.
Well, whether they have a makeover or not, I don't know.
Excellent. More questions from the floor?
Yeah, just a quick question. Just before I do, Richard, I was in Osborne only a few weeks ago, and you're right, it is all blue. They are the same colour, it's exactly the same, and yeah, it's quite strange being there. Anneke, you've recently done a big interview for Conscious TV, and I just wanted to ask you really about the spiritual side, because we're going to be exploring that next year, maybe rather than the Doctor Who audience, and actually trying to take you out to that audience. And I was just going to ask you about the tragedy in your life and how that's affected where you are now in terms of the stuff you were talking about on the Conscious TV interview and the spiritualism and so on.
All right. So if you go to my website, then you can get a link to this one. Actually,
it's on YouTube as well.
It's on YouTube. It's
yeah.
called Conscious.tv. And I was asked to do this interview, and I went along, I have to say. And they said, oh, that's very good. So you sit there quietly, we're just doing this woman before you. And up on the screen was this woman, American psychologist, brilliant and really articulate. And I thought, bloody hell, I'm in the wrong place here. For me, you know, what am I going to talk about? So when the guy came out, lovely, sweet man, I said, I don't want to go home now. And he said, oh, no, you'll be all right, you'll be all right. I'm actually very proud. I have to say, I'm very proud of this interview, because here's an interview where the man he's very deep, he's very sweet, he's very lovely, and he takes me into places which normally I don't talk about. And it's a journey that we make together. And at the end, if you watch it, it's a complete thing. I'm very proud of it. And next year it goes on satellite to children. But for me, I'm such an innocent in a way. I think, ooh, this interview is actually going to go out into space. I love it. It's brilliant, you know. And I'm proud that I was able actually to talk about a lot of what goes on in my life, which is you know, the experiences that I've had that have brought me to the kind of sense of peace that I have inside myself at times. So it's wonderful. Yes, I'm proud of it. So do watch it, please. That would be lovely.
And can you just plug the website again? What's the website for that?
It's www.conscious, and then can you spell conscious?
The best thing to do is go to Anneke Wills. I'll put a link up. It's on YouTube. If you search on Anneke Wills on YouTube, it's there. But I will put a link on AnnekeWills.com as well over the next couple of days. So that's the easiest way to find it if you can't spell conscious.
AnnekeWills.com for living in the future. Excellent. Right, any more questions? I think we'll have one down here.
How do you like film Jada?
I love to listen. I love to do any of it. Graham Harper was kind of twinkling, and I said, well, hurry up if you're going to give me a part, because high definition wrinkles, you know, it gets worse. I'm getting older by the minute, so if you're going to do it, do it. But at the same time, if they do offer me a part, I should be on the Valium. Because we were talking this morning, they don't rehearse anymore. You just do it. There's no rehearsing.
There's no rehearsing anymore. You should pitch Forky Boots for the Anneke Wills, I bet.
You know, I did for the BBC, I read the whole story of the Moonbase, and it's called Dr. and Cyberman, and I was doing the reading. I was so pleased to do it, because that was a story I was in. So that's what they did. They said, okay, great, here you go, we'll put the script in the post to you. The script comes through the post, it's the whole story. And they say, we'll see you on the 15th. Nobody had to come and help you, you know. Then I read the thing, oh man, this is where they now find that actually I can't do it, you know. I'm no good. Because I had to do all the voices, I had to do Pat, I had to do Fraser. I had to call up Fraser and say, he was on his little mobile, I said, how did you say that line, are we going to meet the old man in the moon? And he said, just think of Dr. Finlay, and then you're in the Scottish accent that I did. So, and then I had to do Pat. And the weird thing is, and then I had to do, and then it's the Moonbase. They're all up there in the on the weather station, and they're all blokes, 40 blokes, voices. I had to do, you know. So then I'm walking around my kitchen because I put myself into a house. I was so frightened. So I had a pillow in my t-shirt when I'm walking about my kitchen saying, okay, come on lad, you know, getting my voice down there. But when I listen to it, if you get it and you listen to it, when I listen to it, at the very end, I was listening, and I'd sort of gone into this thing of have morphed his voice, actually. He comes through. He was in my kitchen. He's in the voice, he's on the tape. Spooky.